Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is what you witnessed at the screenings in terms of the iPad. So right out of the, let's talk about what your understanding is with why they use the iPad and what they used for. So does anybody know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, they use the iPad for scheduling, so they can schedule in the office, and they also use the iPad with a little QB thing to process the $20 payment on site.
Perfect. So everybody's got that part, right?
Blocks off the time.
It blocks off the time. Yes, that's where we're going. So the iPad, what it is, so we have the ability to schedule the appointment in real time, which helps us to not overcrowd the office. That happened a long time ago where before we had whatever, it didn't really matter. We'll just schedule anybody at any time. But when you've got like 12 people showing up at 6 p.m., that doesn't give the best patient experience, okay? So what we've done is we've created this online system, A, to help track the patients, what event they're coming from, so we can see how productive events are, and B, to also limit the number of people that will show up every 15 minutes so we can give the best patient experience that we possibly can. So there's a couple different purposes. What happens is, and I'm just going to show you really quick, this online system is hidden at the bottom of our website under team member appointment entry
I was
system.
wondering what that was.
What's that?
I didn't hit it. I was wondering what it was. And like, if I hit it, I'll probably not be able to get out of it and ruin it.
One second. I wasn't doing this earlier. One second, guys.
I get that all the time.
Here it is. Here, okay. So, just so you guys can see, the online system, to log on, everybody has access to log on. It's your first initial last name, not at chiro1.net, and your email password. Okay. First initial last name, not at.
It's going to be crooked. It was crooked all last time. We just said it.
Better? First initial,
Secret
last
name.
name, and then your email password, okay? So you log on, and this is the screen that you see, okay? So I'm going to show you what the CERs do, and then I'm going to backtrack that to show you what you do, okay? So what the CERs do is they add a new appointment, okay? There's a couple different ways that we meet patients, and they're all here on the left-hand side. The first one and the main one being initiative. So initiative means event, okay? So we're going to use that word primarily. So we set up initiatives. You create initiatives or events, okay? You can have an internal referral. An internal referral is a clinic-only thing. That is where the clinic would find a patient or market for a patient, whether that be dinner with the doc or a patient refers another person. That would be a marketing inside the office. Does that make sense? We would never use the internal referral for us. Okay. An employee's immediate family member. So this is how you can schedule an appointment for your spouse or your children living with you under the age of, I'm not sure.
26.
It was 18, now it's 26 here. So you would use that.
We could do it.
Have a CER do it or call the office, just because I'm not quite sure if you have the rights to schedule an appointment under your name. An external referral is when you meet someone, and remember, your CER mindset. So you meet someone outside of a screening, but doesn't qualify for free care. So let's say I went out to dinner and I was talking to my waitress. She doesn't qualify for free care because she's not a spouse living with me or a kid under the age of 18 or 26, whatever that may be. But she's also, I didn't meet her at a screening. So she would be an external referral. She'd fill out the appointment sheet. She'd pay $37. All external referrals are $37. All internal referrals are $37. We keep the $20 opportunity for the CER so they have the best deal. Even our Groupons are more expensive than the $20 opportunity.
You have Groupons?
Groupons, Living
I love you
Social,
guys.
Amazon Local, all of that. The CERs have to have the best deal, otherwise people will come up to them, I saw you cheaper on Groupon, I'll just go to there. We don't want to create that for them, because then that takes money out of your pocket. Does that make sense? So, an external referral and internal referrals are all $37. Still way cheaper than $395.
Great deal still.
Yep. And then intercompany, again, another one that we don't use. That's when a patient wants to move from one office to another office, but they're already an existing patient. Okay? Does that make sense so far? So as a CER, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, the initiative is always going to be the default. I'm going to select initiative, pick my region, pick my day that I'm screening. Remember, I'm a CER, and these are all the events that are running for this particular region today.
Wow.
Okay? So does that make sense to you guys? This is, what's that?
So how many CERs are working?
The whole team works except for if it's someone's day off. Okay?
So even the people you might meet from the Northeast might have to go out there? if they're
No.
Not giving up.
South region's pretty big. I can show you, might be easier if I show you your region. So here's what we've got for the Northwest. Okay?
Vitamin shot.
Any questions on this so far? You want to see the Northeast? Northeast, this is what's going on today. West. Here's what's going on today. Okay? So this is what's going on today. So as a CER, I find what I'm working for. I select my name. And if a doctor's at my event, I would select a doctor at my event too. Doctors can't go out and screen. Talk to your regionals about that, about how to schedule a doc. Some of them have to go out and screen, so because they have the ability to work on a comp plan as well. It's outside of their responsibilities as a DC, but some of them have taken part in the doc compensation program, so they have to go out and screen. So talk to that, because it always is a benefit if there's a chiropractor at your event. Okay. So then I would add a patient, and this is what the CERs are scheduling their patients with. You guys kind of saw this screen, poked around a little bit on it. So then when I go to schedule my patient, this is really a virtual scheduling appointment sheet. You guys all see that? Yeah? Okay. So then I click my office that the patient wants to go to, the date. Let's say I want to go Wednesday. These are the only appointment times open on Wednesday. Okay? So if I want anything later than 3:30, then I'm going to have to go to another day. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay?
It's pretty easy to follow.
It's very simple, and then they have the ability, obviously we would schedule the whole, we would type in all the information that we have. They can even flip over, there's stress assessment, so the docs can have the communication with what the patient says that they're complaining about. This is probably the most commonly used box at the bottom, the notes, because then we can communicate back and forth. This is how the marketing team links up with the clinics, okay, because we're communicating about a specific patient. Does that make sense to you guys? What's so key though is once I add those patients, all those patients are tagged under this event. Does that make sense? So how does that event get into the online system? You guys have to put it in there for them. Does that make sense? Anybody not following me? No? Yes? Hello?
Everybody was really awesome because every time they booked something at my events, I would watch them do this.
Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
you kind of had some experience in this.
It was awesome.
Awesome. No, that's okay. I just want to make sure, even if you have seen it, I want you guys to really understand the importance of it, because then what the analysis department will do is then, let's say it's an expo. So let me pull up any expos that happened over the weekend. So check this out. So pre-Mother's Day extravaganza. That's going to be a one-time a year thing, right? Maybe we paid money for it, maybe we didn't. So what I've got to do is figure out, the analysis department will figure out, is this worth running next year? Okay? So what they'll do is they'll pull the results from last year. Let's say it's next year. I'm going to pull the results from this year and say, okay, well, we got 15 day ones from this appointment or this event, so yeah, let's go ahead and run it again. Does that make sense? Because all those patients are classified under this event. So you guys get the purpose of entering that into the system, right? Wonderful. So then what we'll do is I'll teach you how to enter the events, okay? So when I flip over, this is going to be your home screen, okay? You're not going to have a tab that says appointments or stress
Just
assessment.
initiative.
Just initiatives, okay? So what I'm going to do is we're going to enter a new event, all right? Now, you'll have to forgive me because I don't have any initiatives in my name as a trainer, and we don't have a training login to teach you on, so you'll have to use your imagination a couple times later on in this training. So when we add a new event, so you log in, add a new event, this is how we enter an event into the system, okay? So depending on if it's a one-time thing or if it's a multi-time thing, that's going to enter how many times we enter it into the system, okay? So I want you guys to remember that. Approval is the biggest thing that we need to know about, okay? When we enter something in for the first time, what are we asking to do? What do you guys think? We're asking to run it, right? No, okay, I've lost you guys. Okay, so there's 2 times that we could enter the same event in, okay? Sorry, trying to, it's a little tricky to teach when I know that you guys haven't gone through everything yet, so bear with me.
Oh,
Oh,
that helped. Didn't know what I meant.
Okay, there's 2 types of events. There's a non-contract and there's a contract, okay? So what do you think a contract is?
Sign.
Okay.
ouch. Sorry. A contract, it would be an event that we would have multiple times, like a,
Yeah.
okay, screening, or, hey, we're gonna come in for the next 4 months, blah, blah. A workshop, I don't know if that would need a contract or if it would be a different type of paperwork
Sure.
because it's a one-time hit.
Yep, so that's what I want you guys to think about, is not necessarily screening workshop or anything like that, is how many times and how many occurrences we are gonna have in this, okay? Contract's gonna be more than one time. So this is gonna be, an example would be Mariano's. Okay, Mariano's is gonna be contract because I wanna go there 2 times per month for the year. Does that make sense?
Would Mariano's be a high-level account?
Not right away, because I want to make sure that you get credit for it first.
Oh,
That's kind of what the whole flipping over to Paul is. So this is
Yeah.
going to be you first.
okay.
Then after it's done being a new event, it flips over to Paul to manage, versus you having to manage that every year. Does that make sense? Because after it's done being a new event, you're not going to make any money off of it. Does that make sense? So we're going to make sure that you bonus from it, and then when you can't bonus from it, then it flips over to Paul. Does that make sense?
That's fair.
So Mariano's is going to be 2 times per month for 12 months, and we might have multiple locations. We might have the South Loop, we might do the West Loop, we might do Arlington Heights, so it could cross a lot of different places. Does that make sense? Doesn't matter about the locations, what matters is the occurrences. It's more than one screening, okay? A non-contract is
Like an application.
no. That's not great.
Agreement?
Nope, I'm trying to think of an example. It's not even a weekend event, okay? Because a weekend event is how many days? Yeah, so the flower show, flower and home expo, 2 days is gonna be over here, okay? If it's Saturday, Sunday. A non-contract event is going to be the dog show, the dog jumping show.
In Libertyville? Okay.
The dog jumping show, that's 1 day. It's just Saturday. You guys understand that?
Or like a 5K.
Oh, 5K, that was perfect. 5K packet pickup. 1 day, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. The other, so that's one aspect that we have to make a distinction between what types of events that we are running, okay? So you guys get the distinction between a contract and a non-contract, right? It's how many occurrences. What dictates how many times we put it in the system is if there's money involved, okay? Do I need to get a check to run this event, or is this a free event? Does that make sense? So the first layer is to figure out, is it contract, non-contract? The second layer to figure out is this money attached to it or not, okay? So what has to happen, so let's take Mariano's as our example. Mariano's is not gonna let us in for free. You guys get that? Okay, so we're gonna have to pay a certain amount, okay? Like Ultra Foods, we have a partnership with Ultra Foods. Every time we go to Ultra Foods, it's $75, okay? Pretty simple.
We
So-
pay them?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yep. We're using their space. We're using their their people. We're using their marketing to get our marketing through. The goal is to not pay at all. That's the goal. However, that doesn't always happen, and that's not always the partnership, okay? So let's say we can negotiate, which you'll learn how to negotiate later on this week. Let's say we negotiate with Mariano's, 2 lunch and learns. Let's not even involve that. We're just gonna do screenings, okay? So lunch and, that would be a whole nother adding into the online system. Let's say we negotiate 2 times per month for the 12 months, $100 a screening. Okay? So, that's just hate when people burn back too.
Oh, yeah, I hate that too, just throw it away.
Crying out loud.
It's like leaving the milk that has not even like a sip left, because you don't want to throw it away.
So it's $100 per screening. Okay? So, I need, this is our example, just so I don't have you guys look anywhere else. So don't focus on anything else on the board right now. I need $100 per screen, okay? So what I need to do is then enter that into the online system for regional approval that I can spend money and finance approval for them to send a check. You guys get that? So this is entered twice, okay? One is for approval for regional, for money. You guys get that? That is not the event that the CERs put their patients into. The CERs will never see that. Does that make sense? That is the contract event. You guys understand that? What I'm going to have to do then, because remember on the online system, I selected a specific region and a specific date, all those events that occur that day. I then have to go enter 24 specific events on specific dates so the CERs can put their patients into that. Does that make sense? Does everybody get that? Because that's a huge
Yes.
concept. You don't get that.
So if I pick up Mariano's personally, I'm gonna have to put them in 24 times. I'm gonna be sitting on my laptop.
25. that's 24. Mhm. You're gonna really like the copy paste. Yeah, but that return on investment though, that you have a year-long contract twice at Mariano's, totally worth the 30 minutes of putting that into the system.
Well,
Probably about 45 minutes the first.
well, if I understand this right, Mariano's only count for me for 3 months, right? On
Mhm.
comp, okay, you know,
Yep, you still, well,
then I drop, and then they get dropped from my.
you can't think conceptually Mariano's.
Okay,
Each individual event is one time, okay?
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
So yes, you're gonna put all 24 of those specific dates
But
in.
it only counts as one.
Let me double check on that. I think that my understanding was, I'm not 100%, that each individual event, that's one event.
Oh, okay.
Okay? At least that's what I think, but let me double check because that's gonna be like 24 times the money that you originally would think.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Let me check that one, okay? Let me look into your comp plan and double check that because that might be where your disconnect is there's one concept of Mariano's or is there 24 concepts of Mariano's?
Or is there 6?
All right, don't do
Yeah,
this.
I get what you're saying. We'll find out, okay? So does everybody understand this so far? So suspend what you're thinking about the comp plan. So I have to enter this in a specific date, so then when the CERs pull up their date to put their appointments in, they have a specific day that has this all information in there. Yeah? Okay? Whenever I enter something for the CERs, there's 0 money attached. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like on the online system. I never want to put money in because I already asked for money from the finance department. The finance department also looks at this online system. Because they look for, what do I need to pay? Well, we already paid Mariano's and now I'm saying, well, it's $50 or $100 per screening. Then finance is coming after you like, why are we overpaying Mariano's? Okay? So all of these individual screenings have 0 money attached because I already took care of that. Make sense? Any confusion whatsoever?
Not yet.
That's the hardest concept. Okay? Truly, honestly,
Not
yes.
until we're doing it for real.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you answered this, but we don't cut the checks, right? Like
Mm-mm.
billing is gonna be doing.
What's gonna happen is with this approval in the online system, and then you're gonna send up some backup documentation via an email, they'll cut the check for you, okay?
Can we deliver?
I think we'll send it for you. Yeah, you don't have to drop it off. Unless there's something like super time sensitive but I believe that we'll deliver it for you. Because that's part of the system that you have to tell us where to send the check. Okay. Does everybody make sense? Or nobody's confused yet, right?
And if you're doing Mariano's, it would probably have to go to their corporate headquarters or anything else.
Correct.
That's in the law.
Correct. Yeah, we're not going there. Okay. Now, if you have a one-time, you can enter that in with money, and the CERs can attach to that one, okay? If it's a one-time. So if you're doing the dog jumping show and it costs you $100 for the dog jumping show, and it's $100, you can attach the patients right to that because it's not a contract, okay? So that even though they're separate ideas, sometimes they intermix. The whole money, finance, contract deal. Good so far? Yeah? Okay, cool. So let's look at a couple of examples while we argue it. All right. Whew. Workout. Oh, that's wrong.
A lot of lights.
Okay. So when I enter the new initiative, this is what the online system's crazy. Sorry guys.
Oh,
I I tend to be OCD about how things look sometimes.
We all have some form of.
Okay, so when I enter, I scroll and I add a new initiative. What I do, let's say we're gonna enter Mariano's, okay? So I select my region as a new initiative, and I have to know what my nearest office is, okay? So if you're entering a contract, just put one of your nearest offices, okay, if it's gonna have more than one location. So here's my nearest office. The initiative start date and the initiative end date is gonna be the next year. Okay? Initiative title, we will work on this. Okay? The address of the initiative, where you want the CER to go. Okay? This is actually on page, I actually printed out what the island system looks like for you. This is on page 132. So you pick your region, the nearest office, the start date and the end date, okay? The initiative title, like I said, we're gonna work on that. The address is where you want the CER to go, okay? The initiative type, this, hear me well, this is the biggest mistake that people make, okay? If it's a contract that you're asking money for, and it's the first time that you're entering this, you have to select contract, don't select spinal screening, okay? If you are entering it the second time for the CER's attachment, is it still gonna be a contract? What is it?
Screen.
Spinal screening. Yes, so please highlight that and flag that in your manual so you pay attention to what's in that drop down, okay? The first time that you enter it for approval, it's an event contract. The second time that you enter it, it's gonna be the spinal screening or the health fair or whatever it is. Okay, probably a spinal screening. Good? Okay. So we're gonna select contract. Is bonusable? Don't worry about this box, that's not for you guys. Okay? You then create the estimated number of attendees. You can create that with your regional manager. Sometimes the events will actually tell you the estimated number of attendees. And then your desired goal. If it's 10,000 attendees, don't anticipate to get 9,000 at once.
Could you imagine?
Alright? Okay, it's all good with that. Okay. There needs to be some level of return on investment though. So if there's 10,000 attendees, don't put 5. Is that worth the CERs coming out of their house and going to? Okay? And you guys gotta think about that. What's gonna be the best return on investment? Okay?
Am I crazy if I said that many people and they got 25 and 40?
One more time.
Okay, if it's just one day, it's just, my guess.
Mhm.
Would it be a good return on investment, like anywhere from 25 to 45?
You're gonna have to nail it down to one number.
Oh.
So, yeah, you can't put a range in there. So if it's 10,000 and it's gonna be Mariano's and it's a Saturday, I'm gonna say,
So not that way off. 35?
I would say 20 to 30. So I'm gonna say 20.
But you're gonna get signed up,
Scheduled. Yeah.
10,000 people.
Try not to say signed up. Your regionals freak out really
Oh,
bad.
really?
Yeah.
What should I say?
Schedule. We don't sign people up for anything. We schedule patients.
Yeah, makes sense.
I've caught myself saying it in training.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Yeah, we want to schedule 20
Yeah, line those
patients. Yeah.
So I was
Okay.
a little over.
All right. Any questions on that? Now it's gonna change depending on if it's a Wednesday, it's a Saturday, is it a special event, all that kind of stuff. That's stuff for you guys to create. Okay. Okay. So now, your amount to be paid. All right. Probably the easiest way to do this is to do the math for finance. So if it's $100 twice a month, that's $200
$2,400.
$2,400. So I'm going to pay them $2,400 in a one-time payment. Of course, it's
24 million. 24,000.
one-time payment. Does that make sense? $100 per screening twice a month for the year.
That way you got it locked in.
Correct. Okay. Payable to Roundy's,
Corporation.
whatever they tell you to. Attention, Sally Smith, who I've been talking to. This is the address where the check goes.
Which they'll tell you.
Okay? You're going to have to ask for it if they don't tell you in the letter of agreement. Okay? Does that make sense? And then this is also very important, the final due date. You have 3 weeks before the final due date, round it up for a month. 3 weeks to a month. 3 weeks minimum. Before the final due date for you to get money to them. So these, next week events that require money aren't going to happen. Banks move slow, right? So does our finance.
There's a lot of paperwork.
So does our finance department. Okay? There's a lot of people that have to come together. So you've got 3 weeks before an event can run if it has money attached to it.
Oh,
Okay? So that takes a lot of strategic planning on your part. We can't have events that just pop up tomorrow that require a check because we cannot just automatically cut a check like that. Okay? You guys all hear that? So the soonest, if it's the 12th today, the soonest that I can run an event that has money is when?
3 weeks.
June 2nd. You guys get that? Because the check has to be there. Because guess what? If we don't pay for an event, they won't let the CERs in. And guess what kind of mood the CERs will be in if they get kicked out? Especially if they drove 45 minutes. You guys drove a far distance to your events, right? 45 minutes to find out that they can't work. Okay? Not a good situation. So it's a protection on all ends, just making sure that that is the best structure, okay? It just takes a lot of strategic planning. So, on a side note, if you're responsible for 2 clinics and you know that you have 20 to 30 events for 1 clinic in 3 weeks, I'd start working on the other clinic. Okay, so you're always going to have to be very conscious of what's in your pipeline because remember, nothing's going to happen for 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so you're going to have to constantly balance and make sure what's going on. Now, sometimes we're going to be, the CERs and the CER team tends to be somewhat reactive. Like, we have no day ones going into Burr Ridge for 2 days or something like that. So they'll tell the screening team, we got to make sure that we press for Burr Ridge, or we have to, you'll even see on the schedule, push to Streeterville, or push to, not Streeterville, excuse me, push to West Loop, or push to South Loop, okay? So you're going to see that in more of a reactive term. It's on you guys to be proactive to say, you know what, we've got events coming for those clinics. Here's the other thing that you got to be conscious of. 3 weeks is 3/4 of a month. Okay? So even though that's what's happening right now, you can't turn around and put an event on that involves money because by the time that happens, it's not May anymore. It's June, which is a whole new month. So we blew our budget. We missed it. Does that make sense? So you always have to be very conscious of what you're scheduling and making sure that there's plenty for your 2 clinics to reach their budget. Does that concept, that you guys understand that, right? Okay, cool. All right, so the bottom, the insurance details, I'm not going to go over that with you because Holly goes over that with you. Okay, but just know it's very easy to fill out and it's on the online system. And then, yeah.
So we have a certificate of insurance if they need one, we just fax it over, we tell corporate we need it. And they
I
send it.
don't even know that. Holly goes over that. I'm sorry.
She has to stop somewhere.
Yeah. They only give me so much to go over.
Oh, there's so much time. I covered these. They covered those. I got it, yeah.
They only tell me like,
We're tag team.
so many things.
Secrets.
I know. That's why they're like, you have to do naming and online system. And we're like, okay, guys. I'm supposed to be on vacation already, but no worries.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry. What do we do?
So, but
no matter what.
is there family time or
It's okay.
husband time?
They give me plenty of it. So, the notes is the biggest, most important piece of this.
I
This
learned
is,
that.
Yeah. This is how you communicate. Okay. The first part is if it's a contract, things have to match up. Okay. So, if it's a contract, I am going to enter all of the names of the 24 individual events here.
Because you already picked out the dates.
Uh-huh. Yep. If I don't know the dates, I can write to be determined. Okay? But this is the first part of my contract where the money is getting, I'm asking for $2,400 of my budget. You guys remember that? Right here. So when finance looks at that, $2,400, it says nowhere on here that it's for 2 screenings 2 times a month for $100. Does that make sense? So I have to tell finance and justify what I'm doing with that money. Does that make sense? So I enter the individual names of all 24 events here. Okay? So I'm going to follow the naming protocol and enter them all in the notes section. So there's going to be name, 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 times 24. You guys get that? Name with date, all right? Underneath that, any information that the CER / regional needs to know is here. All right? Good? What kind of information do they need to know?
Parking.
Parking, yes. What else?
The estimated amount of people that are coming, is it inside, is it outside?
Well, estimated number of attendees is way up at the top.
Contact person?
Contact person, yep.
With
And
the
how
phone
to
number.
contact. Yeah, not just their name.
Right.
How to
Contact person,
contact
email,
them.
and probably
Yep.
this personal cell phone.
What's very helpful is the contact information that you've had and the event manager. And
So
they're
it's the same person.
sometimes it's the same person, sometimes it's not. However many names and phone numbers you can give them, the better, right? So if something's off, they got lots of people to choose from.
Any special instructions?
Special instructions, inside, outside, bring a tent. You'll be at booth number 300. I mean, sometimes we know that, sometimes we don't. Any information that they have.
Can they pull off
We're park-
with the parking?
Yeah, is
there
there a
drive up?
vendor drive up or is there a vendor drop off? Look for Charles, he will be looking for you, type of thing.
It's like an art fair.
Yes, okay. Everybody good with that? Any questions with entering this into the online system? So which one is this that we're entering?
Protocol, name protocol.
We're entering an event with contract.
An event
Oh,
with,
sorry.
a contracted event that is asking for money, yep. So, I am normally going to say save and exit, okay? I'm not gonna save this because there's no training login. So then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send up my backup documentation. So hold that thought on backup documentation because that's a whole different lesson. But I need to send backup documentation because I requested money, all right? Remember how I said that we're gonna need to supply some other information asking for money? It's like going through a vault, okay? There's a lot of information that we need to give. So that confirmation that I entered that into the system is one of the 3 pieces needed for backup documentation, okay? That confirmation will go to your email, okay? Everybody with me so far? Okay. So then, what's gonna happen is it's in my system for approval. Then I'm gonna see in my system if it was approved or non-approved, okay? If it was not approved, go back to your regional to figure out why it was not approved and why they declined it, okay? Say it might be, hey, we don't have the money in the budget for that, or hey, we've got too many events on that, can we change a date, whatever that may be, okay? What I need to do then is after it's been approved, is do what? Enter
Pay it again.
all 24 individual dates. Okay? I don't want to do that before it's been approved. But after it's been approved, finance is taking care of my check, all that stuff, then I enter all 24 individual events. With how much money attached to it?
None.
Oh,
None.
0.
It's gonna
Yep.
go to the,
Anything that goes to the CERs, because then,
yes,
Mhm.
I remember you said that.
yep, so then I've got a specific date. Here's, the first time that I'm gonna run my Mariano's in South Loop. It's gonna be on this date. The initiative start date is the specific date of the event. Okay, here's one, let me show you the example. So, we're gonna enter one of the 24. Okay, closest clinic, I'm gonna say South Loop. Initial title, we're gonna work on this. So don't take that, don't even read the title, okay? The initiative start date is the specific day that this event at South Loop Mariano's will be run. The address, 16 something Clark, South Clark. Because this is where I want the CER to go to. Okay, it's initiative type, what's the type? Is it a contract anymore?
no, it's gonna be a spinal screening.
Spinal screening, yep, because I already entered the contract. How many attendees are gonna be at Mariano's on a Tuesday?
1,000.
1,000? What's my goal for 1,000
10.
people? 10, okay,
Does that sound fair?
works for me. Amount to be paid, how much am I paying for this?
Nothing.
Right.
It's paid for.
Okay? Don't even worry about the entering the rest of it. The insurance, Holly will tell you about. Notes. The first note on this one is event
Paid for.
contract approved
And paid for.
under whatever the contract's name is by Roger Gold or your regional on this date. Okay?
2,787, wow.
Does that make sense? And then notes for the CER regional. Make sense? So everything matches up. If you're under a contract, every time that there's a note, it's going to be something, it's either the 24 individual dates or approved under the event contract on this date. Okay? Make sense? I know it's boring, but it's a double check. Any questions on this? Pretty straightforward.
Not
Yeah,
boring
it
if
is.
you see cha-ching.
Yeah, it's not that boring, it's just.
Part of life.
Yeah.
All right. Anything confusing?
If we were doing really good, we hire a secretary.
Anything confusing on it? It's pretty simple, right? And if it's a one-time event, it's the same thing. You would just say, raise for the cure, don't look at the title because it's incorrect. Wherever the address is for raise for the title. Estimated number of attendees, let's say it's 1,000, it's a spinal screen. Amount to be paid, we'll say $50, one time, enter where the check is gonna go to. And this is something, since it's not a contract, it never will be a contract, I don't even need to worry about this here. I just need to worry about notes for the CER, okay? Simple?
Yeah, that's.
Take see Christy in Flowers, she will take you to.
Mhm. Yep. Pretty great, right? Okay. All right. So that is the online system.